Honored to be here today. I've been doing a little bit of informal kind of interview this weekend because I'm from Oregon about what people think of Oregonians. I've gotten a kind of a variety of responses, including we're angry, we're depressed because it rains all the time, we don't really use technology. So I'm going to try to thwart all of those in the next 5 minutes, or else I've really failed. But a couple acknowledgments I wanted to make. First of all is to thank Dennis and Julia McGee. Thank you so much for hosting this beautiful wedding. So if we can all give them a quick round of applause for all they've done here. Also, my parents, Rocky and Peggy Sagers, hosted a beautiful rehearsal dinner last night, so that was a great event. So if we can give them a round of applause as well. And I want to thank all of you guys just for sharing the day. It's been a really special weekend for all of us, and great to have so many friends and family here. Real quick, also want to acknowledge a couple people on our side of the family that couldn't be here. We have a lot of cousins and aunts and uncles that weren't able to make it. We also have a set of grandparents on my mom's side, Bob and Sandy Engel, that have passed away. They're really close and would have loved to be here. Also have a grandpa, Verl Sagers, that passed away, and he would have been honored to be here as well. So I want to acknowledge them. The one grandparent we do have here is my grandma Sagers Phyllis. And one thing, Val, you should know, she kind of considers herself the matriarch of the family. And you are now kind of the third generation Sagers woman here. And so hopefully, God willing, one day you can be the matriarch of the family as well. So something to look forward to there. A couple attributes. I want to start with my brother. Obviously, I've known him all 29 years of my life, and just want to touch on a couple attributes that have stood out to me with him. The first one is my brother's very strong-willed. Those of you that know him probably know that about him. I'm not going to say stubborn, but that's probably the better word for it. An example of that, my brother and I had the opportunity back when I was in college to travel to Europe together for 10 or 11 days. And, I'm somebody that needs a relatively normal caloric intake, especially when I do anything active. So we were traveling all over Europe. We're kind of doing the city on foot, seeing as much as we can. And for about 11 days, that guy made me survive on nothing but Snickers bar and Diet Coke. And it was disgusting. So Valerie, be prepared anytime you travel. The next thing I kind of want to acknowledge here is he's a very kind individual. Example of that, most people when they have their first memory of life, it's something kind of redeeming and sweet. You know, the bicycle ride with their dad, or their parents teach them how to swim. I remember when I was 3 and I had a favorite hat, and I had lost it that day. I was looking for it. Apparently hats are very important to 3-year-olds. I couldn't find it anywhere. My brother walks in from outside exclaiming, "Oh, I found it!" He hands it to me, and it's full of a pile of dog poop. So from that point on, I still have never received an apology. I'm waiting for that. The third thing I really want to focus on is my brother is a very sensitive person. Evidence, I remember a call time back in grade school, I had been hit by a bike. A neighbor kid had bumped into me, and somebody ran into our babysitter to tell her because I was outside crying. Very tough, but I must have broken several bones, so it was just a little tear. My brother is proceeding next to me. He's so scared for me that he is also screaming and crying. So our babysitter runs out and has no idea which of us is actually hurt. So the other kids have to kind of point out as he's weeping over me getting hurt. That I actually kind of appreciate looking back now. Brothers have a unique bond. For anybody that has a brother, you kind of understand what that relationship looks like. For my brother and I, because we're only 2 years apart, we really grew up together. We like to say, I got him a little Christmas gift. It's kind of a joke that we always mention, but it's a bookmark that says, "There's no other friend like a brother." And that really does ring true. We kind of often refer to that in a joking sense, but it is also a very real thing for us, and that there is no other friend like a brother. My brother to me has been an example in so many ways of of godly character, of what it looks like to love, especially a woman now with Valerie, of what it looks like to take care of somebody else, and me growing up so often. It's truly a blessing when your brother is not only a role model, but he's also a best friend, and that's what I have in my brother, and for that I'm very, very thankful. Valerie, they say that when a family member gets married, or what I like to kind of consider, you don't really lose a family member, but you gain one, and that's really what I think I gained in Valerie. Privately, I always wanted a sister growing up, not because my brother didn't fill that role, but he's a man. So I kind of, I always did want a little sister, and now I feel like after 29 years, I finally have that. And to me, that means a lot. I think at various stages of their relationship, different members of my family would have said that's the point at which we knew when they were going to end up getting married. I think my parents could point to various conversations at one time or another. I personally could point to a time when I knew she was starting to change from the orange of Tennessee to the green of the Oregon Ducks. We finished number 2 this year. So I saw that kind of transition there, and I said, I think something might be happening here. I recall a conversation, my grandpa, Engel, my mom's dad, passed away a year ago this week, and I remember it was a sudden thing, and so the last time my brother was home, he had a chance to see my grandpa for the final time. We didn't realize it at that point, that was the final conversation they would have, and my grandpa pulled my brother aside in another room, and I don't know exactly what was said there, but my grandpa was a very principled man, and he said something along the lines of, you know, I've seen and I've heard how much Valerie means to you, and when you know and when you find a woman that you love and you care that much about, you hold on to her. And for somebody that was so principled and dialed in, and kind of his last conversation with my brother before he passed away, I think that was a sign for all of us that this is truly something special here, and I think that's been evidenced over the course of the past year. Valerie, truly, I couldn't have asked for anything more. As a younger brother or a brother growing up, you kind of have an idea in your head of what you want for him. You know, he's obviously going to make his own decisions. He's going to, you know, live his own life there. But really, I can truly honestly say that you embody everything that I would have asked for my brother's wife. And I'm truly honored and grateful to have you as a member of the family, and I'm truly honored and grateful to be here today with you. So, thank you. Finally, I want to share just a little bit of advice I received about a year ago on marriage. I'm not married myself, but one thing that was said that's in no way supposed to be any kind of announcement, I promise. There's actually a man much wiser than me, my dad, was talking to me about his marriage to my mom. And he said something along the lines of, when you decide to commit and say I do, that commitment and that I do truly does last forever. And through the thick and the thin and the highs and the lows and the ups and the downs, you are committed to that person. You will love and serve that person every single day. And that's something that has stuck with me for a long time now. So if we can raise a glass to you guys, thank you, Christie, to a life of love, of joy, of laughter, of serving Christ together every day, and of waking up every single day, looking at your best friend and saying, I do, all over again. So here's to Rob and Valerie.
Yeah.
That's going to be hard to follow, but I'll give it my best. When I asked my dad for advice on getting this toast, he replied with the usual, keep it short. It's what he always says when I start to tell him a story. I guess he can understand. He's had to live in the house with 3 women. But Dad, I'm really sorry. I have 24 years. Over the years, being the big sister, there have been a lot of times that I've had to rescue Valerie. First was the time we were playing in the muddy lot next to our house and she lost her shoe. I had to go find her. Then there was the time in Maine when Dad told her that the tide was coming in and she was petrified, afraid the tide would take her out to sea. And the time we were horseback riding and her saddle came loose, she ended up hanging upside down underneath the horse and, of course, had to be rescued. There were those times when we had hiked just a little too far and Val would simply sit down in the middle of the trail and refuse to walk another step. Being afraid that my dad might actually leave her, I would sit down beside her and attempt to encourage her to move. Then there was the bus ride, where this girl would not stop picking on Valerie. Seeing it as my duty to protect her, I handled things and ended up with her parents at my house explaining how I had bullied her. So, why do I bring all these things up? Well, first because now looking back, they're really funny memories. But also because today I'm turning this role of rescuer over to Robbie. So, Robbie. When your path in life gets muddy and Valerie loses her shoe, help her find it. Or better yet, just buy her new shoes. And help her reestablish her footsteps on more solid ground. When her saddle comes loose and she loses the reins, find the reins and guide her. When she is tired and refuses to walk another step, carry her. When she is hurt by others, show her that you're willing to fight for her. And when she is scared of the tide coming in and washing her away, well, I don't really know what to tell you about that one. I guess just offer to go for a swim. In return, I can promise you, your cheeks will hurt from laughing so hard. You will make memories better than you ever imagined, and you will be given twice as much love as you deserve. I know, because this has been true for me. Stop crying. And finally, I would like to close with a passage from a book I recently completed. The author says, "Marriage is a wonderful gift from God, through which He enriches our lives, blesses us with children, guards us against temptation, and presents a model to the world of how Jesus Christ loves His church. Sin, Satan, and the world conspire daily to oppose God and tarnish this model. Therefore, be wise. Recognize both the opportunities and the dangers that lie ahead. Prepare yourself today to respond to the inevitable conflicts in a biblically faithful manner. As you learn to be peacemakers, you will not only strengthen your marriage, but also turn it into a place where God is glorified, others are served, and both of you are steadily being conformed into the image of the great peacemaker, our Lord Jesus Christ." Good news, Dad. Most of them are blank. We love y'all. Cheers.
Cheers. Good job, Christie.
Let's give another round of applause right here from the matron.